This Fiddlesticks draft by Gen G was a really fantastic use of the pick that basically no other team's using, and you leverages Canyon's unique ability to actually strong side jungle. Probably one of the only teams that's willing to both give up the resources and kind of play around that, but also have the sort of flexibility within draft to be able to do that. And that kind of only comes with experience and trust in each other as a team. And that's kind of showing us just how much better Gen G is than a lot of these teams out there. Like teams on the caliber of Gen G, or in a different case, drawing so much draft pressure on the side of T1. These teams are able to craft so much flexibility in their drafts, and they are drawing advantages that no other team is. So why is it good? For context, they picked it R5. So no other team is really picking jungle R5 right now. It is a role where there is some flexibility in terms of what you want to pick, in terms of champion identities and what you want to round out your comp with. The reason it's typically in this meta just given up, it's because it's very easy and generally required it for it to be sort of like an early game facilitator, as well as someone who needs a lot of CC. So most of the time, you're just going to pick champions that kind of do that. Even in this meta, it's no exception. So we have the Vi that's being picked here, B1, and we have the Maokai. And as you get later and later into the draft, it makes more and more sense for the Fiddlesticks pick. So it starts off with a B1 Vi. In order to justify the KDF B1 Vi, the meta right now is contingent on a lot of the champions that are banned around it. So the main things I'm looking for are the Senna, a couple of ADC bans, which are 2 of the 3 total like sort of draft styles right now, and then a lot of the poke champions. So you have the Senna lanes, and then you have that sort of diluted bot lane dynamic. You have the opposite, which is the total domination bot lane dynamic with Varus and Lucian and Kalista. Seeing all of that stuff come out in Ashe from specific teams. So that's the other dynamic. And the other one that's also potentially possible is the poke champion dynamic. So you have the Karma mids, the Hui mids, we see Corki counters, we're seeing Ziggs now. Like there's a lot of stuff that's coming out, and then it also depends on what top lane matchups are available. It's a lot of different sort of styles of comps that you have to gently navigate. In this case, it seems that, and just to backtrack a little bit, it is generally dependent on the team's decision. So there's enough agency for both teams to kind of decide where they want the draft direction to go. So if you're a team that thinks that you can play the sort of mage game really well and you're willing to do that, let's go for it, Or if you really hate ADCs, like every team, let's say a lot of teams, they're willing to play Senna, but they're not willing to play against Senna. T1 is a perfect example of this. They're not willing to play against Senna because they think they're better. So they will ban Senna on red, and they will let it be open on blue. Very common. A lot of teams also ban Nautilus on blue because they're scared of the Nautilus R1, R2 because it counters a lot of these options if you're going for these poke options. And then it becomes this sort of handshake between who's engaging on what we're threatening. You can pick certain things. So for example, when you have, if you backtrack through this draft, actually Gen G are actually investing resources to prevent this Nautilus ban from coming out. So they catch that they actually banned Udyr Maokai, and then the Lucian ban comes out. So now it's impossible for Kwangdong to really ban Nautilus at this point. So they basically guarantee the Nautilus on 2. So that should be a locked in pick already, right? So they ban Renata as a response because it's the worst matchup. Kwangdong go for Vi. That's chill, whatever. We get arguably 2 really strong picks. Varus, generalist ADC. Nautilus, generalist support. Boom, we're good to go, pretty much, right? That's the idea behind this. And this sets up for the later parts of the draft, by the way, because when you have the Nautilus, your CC is basically good to go, at least in my opinion. Especially paired with a champ like Varus, you're definitely chilling. Like there's not much to be concerned about. The Smolder pick is like probably an okay response, but the AD pool is not only small, but it's also relatively choked. I'm sure some teams have been trying it. Ezreal Karma probably would have been okay, but it's really dependent on what the team was going for. I could have seen it pick this slot. I think they could have left Lucian open as well, and then they could have traded. But again, this is a choice by Kwangdong, and partially a choice instigated by Gen G. So you see first three. Normally you'd pick jungle by now if you're Gen G, but they got BIS champions in basically their first three roles. They're pretty happy with that, right? So, and what Kwangdong gained in exchange for this was basically the Vibey one, and then they got the counter pick with the Smolder. Alternatively, you can B1 not, you can B1 Varus in this situation, and then you trade. They can go like Vi Nautilus, I guess, but then you kind of know it's like a full forward draft, and it's a little bit hard for Gen G to kind of hide that. With this comp, it's very generalist. You have good front to back, you have good setup, you kind of have everything, and you have good laning, and this is like the beginning of Exodia. This is the ideal draft you're looking for, because you have a comp that can do everything. Kwangdong, arguably similar, right? It's kind of a similar style. They focused on the Vi. It's a little bit less flexible, just slightly, because it's more of a forward champ, and it's meant to tech into the Azir. It's a pre-pick, so they're hedging against it. And then the Smolder is their counter pick, but not really, because there's not much left in the AD pool. You could go maybe Zyra Khan in terms of like a lane that could probably win. That's probably the only thing, or Ezreal Karma. That's probably what's left, but that's viable in this meta. So now, both teams are missing top jungle. They've basically paid for. Oh no, my bad. They haven't. There's a bit of a mismatch. So there's a jungle support mismatch, and this is where the good part gets with Gen G's draft. So they banned Cassante, right? Because they banned Aatrox to open up the Cassante. Also, what really works well here is Kwangdong banned TF. So this sets Gen G up for the Cassante on 4. They're helping them, and Smolder is gone. These are the two champions that you use, the ranged options that punish Cassante. There's a lot more that could be done, because if you look at ADCs in the pool, right, there's a lot that fit the bill. You just kind of need decent laning phase that's centered around Cassante's early game immobility, as well as excellent scaling. So a matchup that would have been okay is the Vayne, but it's commonly not used because she's not very useful in team fighting. I'm sure even other random picks could have probably worked. You could flex the Smolder top and then send it somewhere else. You could go for other things like that. So it's really dependent on, I would say there's more options for this. It just really depends on what you want to go for. So now on 4-5, this is where Gen G see the golden opportunity. And if I'm Kwangdong, I'm a little bit weirded out, because no team is R5ing jungle in this meta, right? The entire jungle meta, it's like Vi, Rel, Maokai, Sedge, Lee Sin, right? And then like maybe Viego, Poppy. Like this is like, that's pretty much it, right? And Kwangdong go full beta on this draft. Absolute betas, because they think that they can go defensive here, because maybe in their eyes they see that they win the front to back. Firstly, I don't actually think so, because Azir is the front to back beast, right? He's the GOAT of front to back. And although you quote unquote get slightly outranged due to the Hui, generally speaking, it's not enough by itself in terms of output. Hui has the range advantage, but Azir has a DPS advantage. And, you know, if Gen G, they don't have to play for priority targets per se, they can just front to back, because by that point where they're playing for proper fights, Azir has so much front to back potential, it's a little bit hard to play around. So this is where it gets interesting, because Gen G are like, guys, this comp does nothing, and they want to do nothing. So the perfect champion for this, including the Vi matchup and the overall dynamic of the game, is to punish that by picking a champion that is excellent when nothing happens. Fiddlesticks. This is the one, baby. So I don't think many junglers in the LCK would do this anymore, many teams, and it's because of this change in dynamic where it just completely blows up the draft. It's an excellent Fiddlesticks pick, because you don't have to do anything now if you're Gen G, because you are just going to stat check them, and you have clear lanes to play around. You have your weak side top. They didn't punish your matchup for whatever reason, because they have Poppy into Xante, and then you have the Varus Nautilus to play through to help you get shielded. This is what makes this draft so good, because now if I'm Kwangdong, right, it goes from, oh, we can just chill with we've got Poppy Braum, but now we can't chill because we're gonna get outscaled, but we have no tools to really go in, right? It's a front to back sort of meatball defensive fortress comp, but you don't win that scenario anymore. So now the only option for KDF is to really play their comp out of their mind and play forward and like force advantages, but they're not given the tools to do so. That is why this draft is so good, and this is just super creative by them. Let's quickly touch on the second game because I think it's also interesting, but maybe less so. I just got really horny over this Fiddlesticks pick. So I think the bans are the exact same, by the way, and the opener is the exact same. So they go Varus Nautilus again. I actually have to check if it was the same draft. I'm not gonna lie, but different opener, right? They go Aatrox this time. Aatrox Lee Sin. So they go for a different vibe, right? They don't think the Smolder was a good counter pick. Sure, it doesn't really fix the problem that there's no ADCs in the meta, but KDF we're cooking a little bit. They go TF top on 3. They can ban out bad matchups. I would go for a Jax ban for sure. Unless Keen has the biggest ego on the planet, I guess he does. I'm trolling. They picked Aatrox. I'm trolling. So it's good into the matchup. However, they basically sacrificed potentially Azir here. Yep, they lost Azir. They banned Sejuani as well because it's a great matchup. Sejuani Q has priority over Lee Sin Q, just as a context. They go Vi instead. And now it's kind of the catch-22 because now they have Vi and they picked a Ziggs sort of answer. And to me, when you go 2 for 2 in drafts that look losing like this, and you have a Pyke that's roaming towards a lane that doesn't win, really, it's like, you know, like there needs to be more priority on these like guaranteed winning lanes. So this is probably a misdiagnosis of the Hui priority, because with the Hui, there's so many like, it's not like you're dominating lane like you would with Varus. You are handshaking lanes, right? Why not just take a champion that can excel in lane, do excellently, right? And mid lane has a lot of these matchups where it's just chill anyway. Like it's not even a winning matchup. They B1 Hui and then Chovy went LeBlanc. So yeah, the champs may be weak on the patch, but it's probably a good LeBlanc game because they need they need the agency to help support and match the roaming potential and shut down the Hui. So yeah, drafting masterclass from Gen G here. I really like this. Really creative. Kwangdong went for some crazy stuff. Some of it was crazy interesting. Some of it was probably just not ideal. And Gen G just punished. So there's that.